Here we go.
You're streaming.
And you're streaming. You're streaming, boy.
Same. You're streaming.
Right one. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Ba-da-da-dun, dun, dun, da-da-da-dun-dun. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum, ba-da-da-da-dun-dun. Da-dun-da-dun-da-dun-dun-da. Da-dun-dun. Da-dun-da-da-dum, ba-da-dun-da-dun. Da-dun-da-dun-da-dun. Bum, ba-da-dun, da-dun-da-dun-da-dun-dun-da. Da-dun-dun. Da-dun-da-da-dum, ba-da-dun-da-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Hi. Hi, everyone. You can hear me. Hello. Hello. How are you? You're looking good. Everyone's looking great. I see all of you out there. Hello. Hi. Love the singing. Thank you. I hope it perks you right up. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful to see you. Saskatchewan. That's Teresa. I think it said it goes so fast. And let's just see. Let me get my Facebook Livers coming in here. There we go. There we go. Hi from Maryland and from snowy Wisconsin. We're all going. You can hear me, right? I think you can all hear me, right? Greetings from Wisconsin again, wearing our long johns. I know I've got a shawl on tonight. I'm in New York State. And let's see, Cindy, hi, hello, good evening, everyone. Wonderful to see everyone. It's great. So, hi. For those of you who know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and you know what I do this every single Monday night. I don't know that I've ever missed a night. Well, we've had some technical problems in the past, Facebook problems, and then technical problems. So I have missed a couple here and there, but uh, uh, the goal was to be there, to be here. And we're almost done with the study of Materia Medica. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and I'm a homeopath, and I love teaching homeopathy. I want every household to know how to use it, what to do, what to own, how to take the medicines, etc. So we're nearing the end of our study of Materia Medica, but that does not mean we're done. I don't want to end this. It's so much fun. Here's my Materia Medica, should you be interested, but you don't have to have mine. There are many other Materia Medicas. In fact, I'm going to read a little bit from my Boraki Materia Medica tonight, as well as my own. And we are going to be talking about a medicine that is a very interesting one. And it is called X-ray. Yes, the medicine is X-ray. Now we can use it in a low potency, say a 12C or a 30C. We can use it in a 200C. And this is a very interesting remedy. It's specifically good for those people who've had too much X-ray exposure. You know, there's a theory out there that says that getting X-rays can actually be good for you. And I am always open. I mean it. I'm always open to new ideas and new ways of looking at things. And because a good mind that is, well, I don't know that I would say I have a scientific mind. I have a homeopathic mind. So it is certainly scientific to a certain degree. But I think a good medical mind, good homeopathic mind, is someone who's open to ideas, to many ideas. And so I try to not shut the door on new ways of thinking or even old ways that need to be re-examined. And so tonight we're going to talk about X-ray, and it is a fascinating remedy. It's alcohol that's been exposed to X-rays, and that's how it's made. And then it's potentized. So, and yes, it works. Angie says, you bet it does. I've used this medicine for someone who was, let's see if I can remember the entire case. I've used it many times. I've used it for myself when I was going exposed to X-rays, getting dental X-rays. And I will tell you about that in a minute. But I've also used this for someone who's had many, many, many exposures to X-rays, either because they've had a health problem and let's say it was their thyroid and they had many X-rays on the thyroid. But this particular one person is interesting because she adopts children, and she, in doing so, sometimes if the child needs to have X-rays, and often the medical establishment is pretty harsh on these situations, expecting people to follow protocols that are a little bit over the top. We all know about that now, don't we? And so she had one child, I believe, as I recall, it was a while ago, that needed X-rays, and the only way the child would be calm enough, especially because it was a baby, calm enough to get X-rays as if she held the child. So she was exposed many, 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 many times. I want to say it seemed to me it was so numerous that it was something like 25 times that she was exposed to X-rays. And so I taught her about using X-ray, and she had to use it, and things changed. I believe the fatigue that she was experiencing was abated in very short order, very, very short order, for fatigue that had been um, lingering for a long period of time. So, this is a medicine that you want to own. Now, for getting X-rays, I have had one little area of my jaw that I've talked about in the past, from a previously extracted wisdom tooth that went awry, so to speak. It was a perfectly healthy wisdom tooth, and let me warn you, folks: don't have wisdom teeth extracted. Don't do that. If there is there's not enough room in the child, give the child time to grow. If they're just if the dentist declares that they're simply superfluous, garbage. There's a reason for wisdom teeth. We need our wisdom teeth. If they're infected, you treat them homeopathically. There very rarely are situations in which, in my estimation, wisdom teeth should be extracted. Certainly not because they're a little achy. Oh, for crying out loud. Achy wisdom teeth? What do we know about teeth that are painful, that are crowding and growing, teething, even teething in an adult, such as that? I bet you guys are going to know. I'm going to wait till you tell me what medicine we use instead of having teeth extracted. You can always have the teeth extracted. You can't have them unextracted. You can't put them back. So, what that does, though, is when the dentist declares, there's too much crowding here. We got to get rid of these because they could cause infection someday. Well, you could get a whitlow on your finger. If you get a whitlow on your finger, that's not good. You better have that finger extracted. You see how ridiculous this sounds? When you get a declaration like that, chamomilla, thank you. What is it, Carla? Good job, Carla. Absolutely. Good job. Chamomilla 200 is the remedy we use for painful teeth, for teeth that are causing pain in teething. And teething is not just for babies or for adults. Teething is also for adults going through the problem of wisdom teeth coming in. So we simply use chamomilla, right? Now, if there's an infection, Teresa's brought up heap ourselves six. But what if there's no infection? Thank you. Melissa says chamomilla. Angela says chamomilla. Linda says chamomilla. You got it. You got it. Aaron says chamomilla. You go, guys. You've got it. You got it. Beautiful. We use chamomilla 200. Could we use a 30? Certainly. I think 200 does it most every time. I like it as in a 200. We use it twice a day for a few days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks until the pain goes away. Once the pain is gone, we're done. Now compare that with the X-rays that the young adult is going to be getting before and after, the antibiotic, the local anesthetic, the anxiety, anxiety diminishing drug, the potential of more infection afterwards. All of that is absolutely ridiculously superfluous. And I hope that what is happening in the world today is bringing people to question authority, We need to question this. We have to don't question the dentist. The dentist has already given you his answer or her answer. They already told you what they think. No, 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 no. You're going to question it in your own thinking. You are going to go back and do your homework. You're going to look into what is used homeopathically for this, or that. That's how you do it. You talk to your chiropractor. You talk to your friends in your study groups. You dig it up in your repertory. Use your repertory and look it up. That's what you do. Do not take someone else's word for it. I'm sorry. I think there are some fabulous dentists. I have some dear friends who are dentists. And I think that they are the ones that I know and that I love are worthy of my admiration because they question too. But we do not remove teeth. And for the sake of making some room, let's allow in a young person, let's allow the jaw to widen. Now, if you're reading Dr. Weston Price's works, Dr. Weston A. Price's works, you will learn that the jaw does open and it moves according to the nutrition. So you make sure that that person is getting the correct nutrition. Okay. Thank you, Lisa, for putting this in there. Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa T. Yep. Yes, absolutely. So let's just see what else everyone is talking about. Yes. Now, this medicine, I have used it in a 30 for myself before I go for an x-ray or after. I'm not as worried as I used to be about it. And I still get an x-ray every once in a while because I had such a severe infection at one point that I've treated, by the way, with homeopathy only, never had the surgery, never had debridement. And every once in a while, I feel a little sensation there. I just want to make sure every few years I go to have it checked. And it's looking good. So it's very good. So I would use it the day before, the day of a dose of X-ray 30, the day before, the day of, and maybe the day after, and call it a day. And then we're done. So let me read this to you from my Materia Medica. This remedy is primarily useful for people who have experienced repeated exposure to x-rays. Such exposure has been known to produce skin lesions followed by changes in the blood, lymphatic system, and bone marrow. The reproductive organs are often rendered sterile due to atrophy of the ovaries and testicles when exposed to prolonged x-rays. Now, I'm talking about, pretty prolonged, okay? We're not talking about having a dental x-ray every, several years. But I would not go over and over and over again for no reason. And I also don't like x-rays just for a little look-see if everything is fine. I've said this before. We are not Vasco da Gama looking to try to discover something wrong, because I guarantee if you dig around in the human body, you will find something wrong because we are not perfect. You will find a little something here or there. And that, unfortunately, will often justify the use of drugs or even surgery. Symptoms, let's say homeopathic x-ray is used for anemia, leukemia, burns that don't heal, and psoriasis. Now, there are many remedies that we can use for burns and for psoriasis. And if you've got the Banerjee book, you certainly know how to treat psoriasis. And for burns, that's easily found. I've written a lot about that. Leukemia, I don't teach about that. I don't teach about that category of illness for obvious political reasons. But I also urge you, if you do want to know how to treat these kinds of conditions that are extreme, go to the Banerjee's book, Banerjee Protocol book. Own that book, my friends. If you don't own it, run, don't walk. It's on Amazon, the Banerjee Protocols. Or you can go to Dr. Ramakrishnan's book. Ramakrishnan is one word. I studied under him for 5 years in Toronto, New York, and New Jersey, and I like him very much. I like his work. And he has very good information about those kinds of diseases that I don't discuss outwardly. And so it's been used to stimulate cellular metabolism and restore mental and physical vitality. So when I was describing to you about that mom who had been exposed to x-rays so many times with her baby, that's what was happening. Her vitality was low. So in that case, as I recall, I probably used it in a 200C, X-ray 200C. And I think and I don't really remember exactly, but this is the way I think in terms of using something like this. I either use it in a 30 or a 200C, maybe every other day for weeks. Okay, symptoms may become worse in bed, in the afternoon, evening, and nighttime, and in open air. We're still talking about the remedy X-ray. I encourage folks who have recently had X-rays to take a couple of doses over a few days of this in a 30th potency to help negate any potentially ill effects. Now, I'm also going to read to you from my Boraki Materia Medica, which also happens to be it's a Materia Medica as well as a repertory. It's a very handy little book. I don't know if you can see it very well. I hope you can. And I like it because it's leather. It has the place-keeping ribbon. It's tidy. I don't know, I think at last count, I had close to 40 Materia Medicas. And I like this one very much as well. Mine is specific for, a quick reference. This one is more in depth. So I want to read this to you. It corresponds to X-ray. It corresponds to stubbornness especially as in burns. So in other words, they refuse to heal is what Boraki says in this book, in his Materia Medica. Burns that don't heal. Interesting, isn't it? Now, how long do we want to wait for that? In other words, let's say we have a burn victim, somebody who's seriously burned. I don't know that I would give it right away. I would use other medicines first. And I talk about that in my Survivalist Guide to Homeopathy on how to deal with extreme situations. And so I would use those first. But then after a while, if it was clear that these burns were not healing up quickly enough, this could be an excellent medicine. And I would use it in a 30C, perhaps twice daily, until you start seeing some changes. And he's also saying here for leukemia. Yep. This is a very valuable, important medicine. And he says to start in the potency of a 12C. In other words, don't go any lower than that. And I agree. 12C is probably a good place to start, but I don't start that low. Generally, I like to start at a 30. If I don't have an exact protocol from the Banerjees, then I usually start my remedies in a 30C. Okay. All righty. Let me just see if I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. Okay. This is a very, when I tell you to own your medicines, this is one of them. This is one of them you want to own. The reason is because we don't know about the powers that be right now and what could come of this, because they love to tell us what's good for us and what's bad for us. And they could say, you can't take that. That's not good for you. You shouldn't own that. So own it. Buy it. Okay? Make sure you own. There are certain medicines in this Materia Medica, when I look through here, that I say, those that are their original substances are of a toxic nature. Those are the ones you want to own. So I'm going to look through here quickly before I start answering questions and just give you some ideas on the medicines you need to own. So I'm not going to tell you all of them, but if you go to my Materia Medica or any Materia Medica and go through them and look at what is toxic here, what has its original substance is toxic, not what it is. It's not toxic any longer after it's been potentized, diluted, and succussed, then no problem. But the first one I see is aconitum, right? Aconitum in its original substance is toxic. I'm going to go through this quickly. Anacardium, arsenicum, belladonna. I mean, these are just quick. I'm just going quickly through this. Yeah, some of these are certainly Nux vomica. Let's see, Cicuta verosa, I believe. Yep, Crotalus horridus, digitalis. I'm not touching them all. I'm just scanning very quickly. Diphtherinum. Yeah. Very important that you own these medicines. And what potency would you own them in? I would own them in a 30 and a 200. Oh, let's see. Histaminum is a good one to have. Influenzinum is good to have. So we're almost, I'm not going to go through them all. I want you to do this. Mercurius, Sol, Mercurius Vive, Mercurius Sin. Those are very important ones. So I urge you to do that. Now let me answer some of these questions, and then I'll get on to what we're going to be doing. We've got one more medicine in my Materia Medica, and then we've really pretty much finished. But I got an email from someone the other day who said, you skipped some, and I did. And some of them I skipped for a reason, and others I don't know why I skipped them. I have to look at the list. But we've got one medicine left, and that'll be next Monday. And then after that, we're going to go back and go through some that I skipped. And I'm not sure what else. Yeah, we love toxic substances, don't we, Dolly? The more toxic, the better it is. Yeah, the Banerjee Protocols book is now only $32 with shipping included. It was well over $140 at one point. Okay, let's just see what else folks are talking about here. Can you post the name? Can someone post the name of the Materia Medica for me? It is William Boricke, Boericke, William Boricke, Pocket Manual of Homeopathic Materia Medica. Okay. No, good question, Liberty. Do the burns have to have radiation etiology? No, they don't. Just burns. Could be burns, chemical burns, could be burn from a fire, from a flame, could be from oil spill, could be anything, or oil burn, anything. The potency that I would get in this would be either 12 or 30, or maybe 200, any one of those. Okay, let's see. And you know that any of these, you can listen to these much later. So let me see if I've missed any questions here. Can myopia be reversed with homeopathy? I have seen it, so to speak. But when people say reversed, are we talking about a complete cure? Are we talking about something that is so much better that it's not pathological enough to be concerned about it? Oftentimes, that's what we see. So, for example, people have allergies, and the allergies are very severe, and they can't go out, and their eyes are swollen, and they have eczema, and they are fatigued, and they're very, very sick from allergies. So we start using homeopathy, and over a period of many months, generally not overnight. Sometimes we can do something overnight that just helps with the acute aspect of it. But to get to the bottom of it, we sometimes have to go for a longer period of time and over many months and even a year, sometimes a little longer than that. Slowly, we see improvement. And then after about a year or so, we look back and say, okay, how was it before and how is it now? Do you still have allergies? And the person often will reply, indeed, I still have allergies. But how are they now? On a scale of 1 to 10, that's about a 1. Well, they used to be a 10. So are we going to eliminate the disease completely? Sometimes we can. Sometimes we can't. Same thing with hemorrhoids. So hemorrhoids can be very, very, very painful and enlarged and bleeding and really an impediment to someone's life. So we use the medicines that I've taught you to use for hemorrhoids, and lo and behold, the person still has hemorrhoids, but they're not as protruding, they're not as painful, they don't bleed, they don't itch, they're still there, but they're not a problem. Or they're only an occasional problem. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for perfection. And I want you to remember that we are not looking for perfection because there's no such thing, right? What we're looking for is a resolution so that the person can carry on in his or her life and be productive. Okay. With what I learned from Weston A. Price, I figured out that my dental crowding and subsequent extraction, it's jumping around, extraction, let's see, of 8 years an adult. As a teenager, my skeletal and collagen tissue aberrations were all from prematurely from prematurity and nutritional deficiencies. Yes, that's exactly what Dr. Weston Price talks about. So if you have a young adult who's having trouble with their teeth and getting them in, make sure the nutrition is stellar, gorgeous, perfect. So that means butter. And I don't mean a little butter, butter, and more butter. Good fats, animal fats, butter, high quality cream, not the ultra pasteurized. If you can get raw, that's great. Does phosphorus also help with X-ray effects? It can. Phosphorus is also a very good one. That's right. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? If swelling is from fluid buildup, take a look at, okay, somebody must have been asking about that. Let's just see what we have in Facebook. How do we heal cavities homeopathically? This is what you do. Joette Calabrese-Cavities. There you go. You'll find it on my blog. 6-year-old's wisdom tooth is growing downward, and dentist wants to pull to allow growth for the tooth underneath. I would still now look at my blog for teeth that are crooked. There's more to it than just what I write about. There is a growing downward could be a problem, but how old was that child? 6 years old. Lots of time to grow. That palate's going to widen. And as the palate widens, because we're eating and giving these young children these high fat, good fat, not vegetable fats, except for maybe olive oil, coconut oil. We're talking about no seed fats, no seed oils. We want butter, lard, tallow, duck fat. Okay? Yogurt with the cream on top, without the sugar. Whole fat yogurt. Make bone stock. You buy your beef with bones in it, you make the roast, and you throw them in the pot, and you fill it with water, and you cook it down and cook it down and cook it down. And then the next night you might have a lamb roast. And you get those bones from the lamb roast and put it in the back of the stove in the pot with the beef roast. And then you cook down 2 species. Cook it down, cook it down. Now when you go to cook, you're going to draw from that stock pot. And when you make oatmeal, you're going to use the stock. Don't tell me, oh, nay. It still tastes good when you put the butter in the oatmeal after you've cooked it up. Just because it's got bone stock, you want that bone. Anytime you use water, you're going to use that bone stock. Now we're talking about building teeth and the bones and correcting the crooked teeth. No, I'm sorry. I know this is going to turn people off. No veganism. I'm sorry. Veganism is a problem. And it's a political statement too, I might add. But it is a problem. We are not intended to eat vegan. And I will tell you, I did it myself for many years. And I put my poor family through it. Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Don't be fast to remove wisdom teeth or any teeth. That's right. You're right. You may need them later in life. I have crooked teeth now. You see, this tooth is crooked. I never had crooked teeth. My teeth were pretty decent, but I got a crooked tooth because I had a wisdom tooth extracted foolishly. There was nothing wrong with it, and in doing so, it caused an infection, which caused the next one to get infected. That one had to be extracted. You see how it goes? Snowball, and then with that other one extracted, now I had a wisdom tooth that was gone. And the next, then all teeth started to crowd. That's the way it works. And it's true for all of our health conditions, my friends. You take this drug for this, it causes a new disease, then the next drug for that new disease, and that starts another disease, and etc. And more tests and more x-rays and more. And then we are on to a lifestyle of hanging out in doctors' offices and taking drugs. The x-ray remedy is called x-ray. That's what it's called. The x-ray remedy is called x-ray. That is the name of it. Yeah. What about baby teeth that have not fallen out? Weston A. Price, my friends. Now, there's more to it than that. There are homeopathic medicines for teeth that are not moving along properly. But I just want you to know there are ways to get it started. All right. Let's see if we have any other questions. We've got a few more, half a minute. Yes, thank you, Tracy. Yes. Yeah, it cost you $130 for the Banerjee Protocol book, but I got to tell you, you know what? I've got 5 of them. That's how important that book is. In case somebody I know needs it, in case one of mine falls apart, I've got the one that they wrote a little note in it for me, and then the rest were just that I bought. And I bought several of them at 140, 130. Worth every penny. And I have to tell you, the first year I was in Calcutta with the Banerjees, they asked my husband and me, because we were producing materials, what we thought the book was worth. And I'm going to be honest with you, I said 140 was not enough. I think that book had been well over $200. Why? Because let me ask you something. Do you know any other book like that? Is there any other homeopathy book that gives you the exact protocols? I've been working in the field of homeopathy, studying and working in it for over 35 years. And I've got to tell you, it's the best book I've ever bought. Now, I use my repertory on a regular basis. I certainly use Materia Medicas, but that book is very specific. It's formulaic. It's what I teach you on my blog. It's what I teach in my courses. These are formulas, and you need to know them. You need to own them, because, my friends, we don't know what's ahead of us. You need to be autonomous. All righty. I think we've done it. I see other questions. I see that you also help each other, and I love that. So do help each other. This is very good. Yeah, now people are talking about the book, the Borky book. It's more depth than mine, and that's a good thing. You want one book that's very simple and a quick reference like mine. One book that's more involved, like Borky. I'm looking for my other ones. They're all in my closet there. You want then you want a repertory. You want to own these books. And if you don't know enough about how to do them, join my study groups, Gateway to Homeopathy Online. You will love them. You will love them. You're welcome, Pamela. God bless all. To see you all. And I say I will see you next week. Happy Hanukkah. And Christmas is coming, and life is good. We'll see you next time. Bye.